please, everybody and their grandmother knew he was going to pardon his son. But to come out and to start talking about how it's been a witch hunt and the Department of Justice and others were after him, or whoever it was, and, you know, the GOP rather was after him. Well, wait a minute. What have y'all been doing with Donald Trump all of these years?
We got a couple clips because your boy Stephen A. Smith decided that he want to chime in on this. And again, Stephen A. Smith should come out and say he's a Republican. But because his hands are soft and his heart is weak, he don't have the courage to come out and just say it. But there's no rational man that will say what he said and still be a Democrat. How does that make sense? Hunter Biden, this is my theory. Nobody's saying this. This was not I think I'm going to pardon my son because things have transpired type of an incident. This is a thing where Joe Biden knew he was going to pardon his son from the very day he took office. The DOJ, all the investigatory bodies were all in lockstep with this plan from the very beginning. The plan was to try to cover up their cover-up of Hunter Biden during their prosecution of Donald Trump. Let me tell you what I mean. They knew that they wanted to try to put Donald Trump in prison so he wouldn't have an opportunity to run and beat the Democrats in the next election. So they went after him to no end. I think a lot of it was illegal. A lot of it was clearly wrong. A lot of people lied on stuff. They elected people with Soros money so that they can prosecute Donald Trump. But in the midst of prosecuting Donald Trump, to try to make it appear to be fair, they had this grandiose plan to say, we're going to indict Hunter Biden as well. When they knew that this is the only chance they got to indict him for his charges and then pardon him in Joe Biden's last term. This is what the whole plan was. They put Donald Trump up to try to get him sent to prison. And then they say, we're going to indict Hunter Biden because we need him to get these charges done so we can make it look like a fair and impartial government system. But we already know Joe Biden is going to pardon him. And there needs to be charges that are brought forward so those charges can be pardoned and put behind us. Because if they had not done this during this dispensation of time, after Biden is out of office and Trump is now in office, then I think they could have brought charges against Hunter Biden, which he couldn't have been pardoned from. So them pardoning him from the charges that they got this early in the game allows them to be proactive and making sure they cover the charges that he should be charged with, pardon him, and then go back 11 years with all that Burisma stuff, all that pay-to-play stuff that happened, they can absolve him of that as well. Meanwhile, making it look like it's fair by putting Donald Trump on trial as well. This is what I think they had done, and they planned it from the very beginning, and we all thought, or at least some people thought, that it was very fair and balanced, and it wasn't. They planned it out. They knew what they were going to do. They needed to do this because Joe Biden didn't have any more time left. And when they found out the Democrats were never going to win another election, they said, we better do it now because when Kesh Patel becomes the head of the FBI, everybody going to jail. Everybody. This video is brought to you by PDS Debt, brought to you by PDS Debt. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish I had knowledge of PDS debt way back when I had a bunch of debt floating over my head, because this is a solution that I think a lot of Americans can get behind. And it's never too early to plan on getting out of debt. Listen, PDS Debt can help you with a bunch of things, and here's just a few. If you're making payments every month and your debt and your balance aren't going down, PDS Debt has a solution for you. Everyone with $10,000 or more in eligible debt qualifies, and there is no minimal credit score required. Bad credit, fair credit, it doesn't matter. PDS Debt can help you. Save more while paying off your debt in a fraction of the time. PDS Debt has customizable options for anyone struggling with credit card debt, personal loan debt, collection debt, or medical bills. PDS Debt strives to understand your specific scenarios and can help provide alternative solutions to become debt-free. Start planning today. Get a free debt analysis right now at pdsdebt.com/Tatum. It only takes 30 seconds. That's pdsdebt.com/Tatum, pdsdebt.com/Tatum. But you have it available for you right in the description section. Make sure you click the link and get out of debt today. We got a couple clips because your boy Stephen A. Smith decided that he want to chime in on this. And again, Stephen A. Smith should come out and say he's a Republican. But because his hands are soft and his heart is weak. He don't have the courage to come out and just say it. But there's no rational man that will say what he said and still be a Democrat. How does that make sense? Roll the clip.
What's your take on the pardon?
You know, the Biden situation disgusted me in terms of the pardon only from this standpoint, Chris. Nobody on the planet, you want to be a cynic and you want to act like you would be offended by something like that if you're one of those people out there, fine. But no one within reason would have a problem with him saying, it's my son. I love him. There's no way I'm sending him to jail. And I have the power to avoid it. Nobody would blame him for that. But that's not where he went. So I didn't have a problem to answer your question directly with the decision that he made to pardon his son. Boo-Boo the Fool knew he was going to do that. I don't care who he stood in front of or sat in front of and said that he wasn't going to pardon his son and he was just going to go by the letter of the law. Please, everybody and their grandmother knew he was going to pardon his son. But to come out and to start talking about how it's been a witch hunt and the Department of Justice and others were after him or whoever it was and, you know, the GOP rather was after him. Well, wait a minute. What have y'all been doing with Donald Trump all of these years? Now, you can make an argument about the legitimacy of the cases against Donald Trump compared to what wasn't legitimate, et cetera. That's not the point. The point is it was clearly politicized. You had folks on the left who were hell-bent on going after Donald Trump because they were determined to make sure that he couldn't run for re-election or that these elements would get in the way of him possibly winning re-election. And now we know why more than ever, because they weren't confident they would ever be able to beat him. He's been a Republican nominee since 2016. He beat Hillary Clinton with the Electoral College vote. He wouldn't concede defeat in 2020, but he did receive over 74 million votes at that particular moment in time. And then you fast forward 4 years later, despite the 34 felony convictions, the 2 impeachments, the bevy of crimes that he had been accused of, the Republican voters out there, the conservative voters out there, and a lot of independents from various communities said, he's the guy we want, and I've said it on many, many occasions. It wasn't about him. Just like it wasn't about Biden in 2020, it was more against Trump. In this particular instance, it was an indictment against the Biden administration, what had been going on for the last 4 years. Some of the things going on with the border, obviously inflation, of course, crime in the streets, of course, woke and cancel culture and all of that, it all played a role. And so for him to come out and to talk about that this was a witch hunt when clearly it could be argued that's exactly what you were doing to Donald Trump, or you assisted in doing, seems beyond hypocritical. And that was what disgusted me. It wasn't his decision. It wasn't him pardoning his son. It was the weak, pathetic explanation that he gave, which has most critics just shaking their heads and raising their eyebrows and saying, what nerve you have.
And I'm critical of him as well. What nerve do you have articulating very clearly that it was a potential witch hunt against Donald Trump, that they lied to the American people, and they turn around and do the exact same thing they claim that we did? They're shielding and protecting a criminal. That's what they did. And Stephen A. Smith still can't come out and say he's a Trump supporter and he's a Republican. Stephen A., what party are you in? What party are you in, Stephen A.? What are you talking about at this point? Donald Trump was targeted. We all know. Quit trying to parse words. We all know that Donald Trump was targeted. Clearly, that's why he ain't spent a minute in jail. They tried to get him a mugshot to damage your reputation. They tried to impeach him. They tried to do all kind of stuff. They tried to take him out. We all know what happened, Stephen A. Why don't you tell the truth? But I'm glad that you guys listen to people like me, because I'm gonna tell you the truth. It is crazy to me. And people are saying in the comment section, is Joe Biden going to pardon himself? I think that you can't pardon yourself, obviously. The only way you can get some justification, and I think the only way Joe Biden could escape this, is if he pardoned Donald Trump. That's the only way he can escape this. Because if Joe Biden pardons Donald Trump, then hopefully he get favor from Donald Trump to not go after him in an investigation. Because I think that Joe Biden pardoned Hunter Biden so that Hunter Biden won't be prosecuted for the things that him and Joe Biden did while Joe Biden was the vice president. Joe Biden knows that he got one foot in the grave. By the time they investigate and prosecute him, he ain't gonna be here no more. So he don't mind doing the rest of his life with scrutiny. His son will do life. He's just gonna do it until he die, which is for 5 years from now, if not sooner than that. Unfortunately and fortunately at the same time, I don't know. That's up to God to decide if that man deserved to go. But that's pretty much what they did. Now let's go to the other clip that we have, because I want to play everybody. Jon Stewart, who's a comedian. The fact that Jon Stewart can make a joke about this we know he's a leftist nut. But just the fact that a comedian will make a joke about this shows how incredibly disingenuous this thing was and how sickeningly obvious it was that this was a sham. Roll the clip.
The problem is the rest of the Democrats made Biden's pledge to not pardon Hunter the foundation of their defense of America, this grand experiment.
One political party remains committed to the rule of law and the other doesn't. It's that simple.
Hunter Biden's not above the law. No one is above the law. Democrats stand for the rule of law.
We accept the outcome because that's how the rule of law works.
Because the justice system that convicted his only surviving son is the same justice system he's vowed to protect. And if that doesn't tell you who Joe Biden is, I don't really know what does.
I think I know what does. And now look at the dance Democrats have to do.
Be honest. The only reason why they went after Hunter the way they did, and I've talked to many federal prosecutors about this, is because he's the president's son.
People have to remember the president has lost 2 children already, and he does not need to lose another one to more political witch hunts.
The, crowing from Republicans, but we're talking about, Donald Trump is a convicted felon who literally had pardoned his daughter's father-in-law and just made him ambassador to France.
So for anyone that wants to clutch their pearls now because he decided that he was going to pardon his son, I would say take a look in the mirror.
Ma'am, we will take a look in that mirror, but we are taking off. So if you could just put this shit on airplane mode and let us get home for the holidays.
Hold on, please. See, this is the foolery from the left. And this is why you guys can't trust him. Not because Brandon Tatum said it, but because the evidence is very clear. These people clearly are just saying whatever they need to say for political expediency. They just say whatever. They're above. No one's above the law. The Democrats are the ones that abide by the law. You abide by the law when Hillary Clinton should be in prison for a long time. You guys didn't even hold an election for Kamala Harris. You literally just appointed her as a party. Not the people didn't have no say. Nobody voted for her. She has, to this day, never received a vote in the primary. Ever. She didn't deserve it. Y'all just thrusted her in there anyway. You tell the people Trump is a threat to democracy. You do this, you do that, you say this, you say that, and all of it is lying. It's all lies and grandstanding. Republicans don't do that. Don't act like we're the same. Republicans don't sit there and lie to you for 25 years and then flip the script on you. Yeah, duh. He can pardon his son. Duh. Everybody knows that, duh. But the question is, should he have? Unless you want a double standard. If they weren't out saying, we're the moral party, Donald Trump is bad, Donald Trump is a convicted felon, they wasn't saying that, then him pardoning his son, that wouldn't even make the news. It's that you guys gaslit us about the whole process. Roll the clip.
Yes. To everything that you guys were saying, if you hadn't made Hunter Biden not receiving a pardon the Mason-Dixon line of morality between Democrats and Republicans, there's a big gap between the law is the only thing that separates us from the animals and the monkey threw shit at me first. I had no choice. This is what Biden's decision has done. Look how confident and eloquent our Democratic representatives were back when they thought they had the moral high ground on this issue.
I've not heard a single Democrat anywhere in the country cry fraud, cry fixed, cry rigged, cry kangaroo court. You don't hear a single peep out of any Democrat saying that why we believe in the rule of law.
And now look at what even he, one of the most verbally dexterous attorneys we have on Capitol Hill, has been reduced to.
Do you think President Biden should pardon Hunter Biden?
So there are lots of claims of political prosecution and political
And was Hunter politically
prosecuted? Obviously that's a judicial point, and you've got to look at what the evidence is, and I don't know enough about
should the president pardon him?
I mean, again, that is a unilateral executive power that...
and should he use it?
Well, the power exists for the president to show mercy for people
I mean, we have an executive, and we have a judicial, and then a legislative, and then smoke bomb.
Sometimes these leftists, when they making fun of themselves, they're actually funnier. It's insane to me that they get to just get away with this, that they get to get on television and grandstand, and then they caught with their pants hanging down. I mean, the guy couldn't even answer a real question. That's the thing that always shocks me about all of this is that why can't people just be genuine? Why can't people just be genuine? When our side messes up, when Trump does things that I think is completely foolery, I just openly say it. It's not that hard to say it. Now, I'm not going to act like our side does a good job at that either, because people got mad at me when I criticized Trump ever. And I'm one of the biggest Trump supporters. I can't say nothing. Donald Trump can have a hangnail coming through his golf shoes, and I say, man, his hangnail coming out his golf shoe. I always Trump, Jesus, Trump is Jesus. That's what some people be doing. Y'all think I'm lying. You say anything about Trump, his hair, his toupee hanging to the left too much. They gonna cancel me. I'm unsubscribing. I can't believe you said anything about Trump. It's like, at the end of the day, there are open criticisms of both sides, right? They're just far worse than what we are. I think we are humans making human errors and sometimes not living up to the best of it. They are evil devils that are all gonna probably burn if they keep it up.